200 feet. The equivalent of a 14-story building below the surface, the ocean and most things in it had turned dark blue. The bigger fish hung down here. A solitary moonfish, looking like a huge burnt pancake, glided by. Remembering she had a flashlight, Morgan turned it on and pointed it at the fish, which turned a bright silver in the beam and darted away. A grouper lurked on the ledge below. Its girth, frown, and overbite made Morgan feel small. Morgan knew she had to surface, but how quickly depended on the air left in her tank. She reached around her body for the gauge that would tell her. Her hand swept in front and then behind, but she could not find it. Morgan exhaled to quell the panic, knowing that no one was there to help her.
What you just heard is an excerpt from my fictional novella, Drowned Mermaid. A novella is a short novel. The story is about Morgan, a woman in her 20s who travels to Hawaii with her boyfriend's wealthy family. After a scuba diving accident, she unexpectedly transforms into a marine animal and must learn to navigate the northern tropical Pacific Ocean. Guided by false killer whales, a tiger shark, plankton, and a personified ocean itself, Morgan is on a journey of self-discovery. The ocean guides her to develop her own definitions of success, beauty, and purpose. And while the story is fictional, the world is built from real marine biology and oceanography. It shapes the characters and the decisions that they make. I started the presentation with a reading because I wanted to appeal to your senses and shift your perspective to a space where you might be open to something new. I believe that is the power of fictional storytelling. Some people will hear this and raise an eyebrow. If you want to learn about the ocean, why not read a nonfiction book? Why not watch a documentary? There are plenty to choose from. But not everyone is going to do that. You have to know you like the ocean to pick up a book about it. I hope to draw people in with the tried and true elements of storytelling: setting, character, and plot. And you will get exactly that from Drowned Mermaid. But you will also get something else. You will ride along ocean currents and explore underwater landscapes. You will meet marine species from apex predators to the smallest organisms. You will also learn about the threats to their health and safety. There are two audiences for the story. The first is people who already love the ocean. Some of you are in this room. The second audience is people who don't think much about the ocean and like certain types of fiction, like personal transformation or science fiction. Some of you may be in this room. And if this story can convince you to learn more, I will have succeeded at what I intended. Drowned Mermaid started out as a short story about a woman who became a mermaid. I had recently gone scuba diving, and I was inspired to write a whimsical piece of fiction. But I knew that it could be more than a cute adventure story if I painted a more complex picture of what I was looking at. I searched for oceanography classes, and that's how I became aware of this interdisciplinary program. I also became aware that UCSD had an excellent writing program. As luck would have it, the UCSD Literature and Literary Arts Department was offering a 2-quarter novella writing workshop. I signed up for it, and then after multiple drafts, it became the story you just heard. In parallel came the education in marine conservation here. Coursework in physical oceanography, marine mammal biology, ocean law and policy, and geospatial data. I incorporated my education into the story until the characters and setting felt really intuitive to me. I knew how a killer whale moved, how plankton drifts, what plastic pollution actually looks like in the water. 90% of that never goes on the page. The work is writing and distilling, until only immersive story remains. So I will tell you here how science turned into story. I had several requirements for the setting. I wanted the character of Ocean to be an old soul. I needed a scuba diving destination in proximity to anthropogenic, which are human-made, threats. I wanted to talk about the northern tropical Pacific Ocean because it is also my home where I live in San Francisco. Parts of the Pacific Ocean are 1,000 years old due to meridional overturning circulation. That is the process by which the world's oceans move slowly, as if on a giant conveyor belt. The Pacific also has a large circular current called a gyre. With the setting locked, I looked for species in that region of the Pacific that could fit the characters I was writing. The character of dolphin is a female false killer whale, which is a marine mammal and one of the largest dolphins in the world. They have a distinct population segment in Hawaii. Female false killer whales take care of their young as well as others in their pod. And for all these reasons, dolphins served as a maternal figure to Morgan, who felt safe around her. The character of shark is a female tiger shark, and she plays a very different role. Tiger sharks are solitary hunters. They nurture their young inside the body. The eggs hatch internally and are born live. Shark has a complex relationship with Morgan, part opponent and part survival instructor. Then there is a joyful group of plankton. They are Morgan's cheerleaders. They serve a vital role in the ocean as the base of the food web. Without plankton, animals and the animals who eat animals would not be fed. Plankton keeps Morgan alive during early phases of her undersea journey. They also supply a bit of comic relief. And finally, there is Ocean. It was the hardest character to write. Without form, Ocean is the orchestrator of the world's largest ecosystem. It is wise, poetic, and intimidating. I had setting, character, and plot points figured out, but for a while I didn't know how to put it all together. Like, where does Morgan actually go in this big blue? To figure this out, I used Esri ArcGIS software to plot visualized data of ocean currents, false killer whale ranges, documented observations of tiger sharks, and concentrations of microplastics in the ocean. That created a route for Morgan, and that in turn determined the sequence of scenes in the story. Here is a close-up of the big island of Hawaii. Morgan starts her vacation on the left in the middle, or down, on the Kalu'a-Kona coast. She has her diving accident up north, and you can see by the currents how she would drift out to sea during the accident. Now, I did have her returning to the other side of the island of Hawaii. I took a bit of fictional license here. It's just as likely she went up the coast to Maui. But I wanted to stay close to one location and one location that I knew. Eventually, she goes north and east following the current, where she meets her biggest challenge. And that is garbage. If you Google the Great Garbage Patch, you will get pictures like this, where the trash collects so tightly it looks like a plastic island. But this is not how it works. On the left is what the Great Pacific Garbage Patch looks like out in the wild. The picture on the bottom right shows you that there's not one plastic island. There's a few convergences in areas of the gyre where the current slows. Some of it is trash you can see, and some of it is trash that is disintegrated into such small pieces that you can't. And that is what makes it more insidious than a trash island. It's hard to clean up, and this toxic soup is easily consumed by marine animals. The picture on the top right is how we chose to depict garbage for this project. As you can see, I took a lot of care into building this world, but I couldn't put all of it into the story because it would break the momentum and people want to read a piece of fiction. But science and conservation really matter, so that's the role of the website at drownedmermaid.com, to show what parts of the story are fiction and what parts are science-based. Think of it like a fan fiction site where you can get behind the scenes of the story. There are character profiles, an interactive map, and coming soon will be some audio excerpts. Thank you for listening to this presentation. It was a gift for me to come to Scripps and learn from experts in marine biodiversity and conservation, as well as experts in literary arts. I believe projects like mine matter because the more people consume media about how fascinating our oceans are, the more they will be interested in preserving them. If you would like to stay in touch to hear occasional updates about Drowned Mermaid as it makes its way to publication, please visit the website at that QR code and you can sign up with your email address. Writing can be a solitary activity, but I was never alone. It took a village to bring this project to life. I want to thank my capstone committee, Carolina Montejo, documentary filmmaker and co-chair of this program, Lily Hong, who taught the 2-quarter novella course that I took, Dr. Sarah Perky, who taught physical oceanography that formed the foundation of this world, and Liliana Watson, I think you're out there. Yay. She is an alumni of this program and a senior content creator at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. She really helped me stitch the story together with science so it would be engaging for the reader. I want to thank to the talented writers and really fun people in my fiction writing workshops, the MASMBC program, Samantha and Hannah, and my beloved cohort. Illustrations done by Maxie Safdie, those character illustrations and the book cover. She did those by hand on paper with paint. Voice actor Haley Roth Brown, other professors that I took that helped with the story, Heidi Batchelor, Dr. Simone Bowman-Pickering, and Dr. Davi Kasev, and my family, especially my husband, Hugh Diamond, who held down the fort in San Francisco so I could spend the year here. Thank you.
So you mentioned the publication of the novella. When can we expect the publication to happen?
That is a little bit disappointing. It is a finished manuscript, but because in the publishing world, particularly the literary world, you're not really an established author until you've written your first novel. I wanted to take the time to pitch it and to novella contests. It's not a full novel, it's a short novel, so I can't really get an agent right now. So I'm going to take a year to pitch it to contest, try to find a traditional publisher. And in the meantime, I'm going to be working on volume 2.
Great. And then I had one more question, which was, you shared, you had a voice actor, you had an illustrator, obviously you wrote the content. Did you experiment or consider working with AI at all in this project? That's obviously a hot topic that a lot of creators are thinking about, so.
Yes, thank you for asking. I felt that it was important to address this because AI is such a hot topic everywhere, but particularly in creative industries. It's causing a lot of disruption. So like Samantha said, I use no AI in the idea, the drafting, the editing, even the proofing, which might have been helpful. Because I'm a writer, I enjoy writing. If I'm using AI, why am I doing it? I did something called character explorations. And if you're not familiar with fiction writing, sometimes you can write like a whole little story about a character just to know what happens, like yourself, just to know what your character does. And that doesn't really go onto the page. It just gives you a better sense of how they would make decisions in your story. And so I wrote some of those, and I didn't really have anyone at the time. Well, I had all of you lovely people, but in the 5 minutes I gave myself to figure this out, I did ask AI to simulate being certain types of audiences, giving them like maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs and asking AI, like, what do you think of this character as a result of this? And that helped me kind of distinguish between all the things I was filling in my head because I'd been thinking about this for so long and what I was actually putting on the page. So I did use it there and it was pretty useful. No way for illustrations and voiceover. I did try, but I just didn't find that it was exactly what I wanted. And maybe I'm reading into it, but there's a warmth that comes from working with people that I really needed. I did lay out the novella myself in InDesign. I use AI to learn how to do that. Website copy, no. Placeholder website copy rather than doing lorem ipsum, which is like your standard like placeholder copy. I did something a little better than that. Definitely with website tech. I'm not a web developer, so it helped a lot. No with the text of what you heard, but yes, for design elements. Like that's a picture of me diving in Catalina, pointing to what I think is a blue shark, and then the AI did an illustrated version of that. Same with all these little like wavy things at the bottom.